What's happening? We are here in the backyard early. Got some stuff I got to take care of, and we had a chance to talk to Frank Caliendo. And this is when Frank could do it. So this is when I was doing it, and we're gonna have that for you. We've already done that, and we'll have that for you in about 15 to 20 minutes. You're gonna love. I mean, Frank's incredible, but his Gruden and Madden, Walton. I mean, just still to this day, absolutely cracked me up. And 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 John Gruden, John Madden, and Bill Walton arguing over PB and J or discussing PB and J. You want to stay tuned for that one. I did want to hit some quick free agency stuff. We've had some news in the last couple of days since it came on Monday, and there were some signings that happened. First and foremost, I'm going to say this. First and foremost, my belief is the Golden State Warriors will have Al Horford, that they're going to sign Al Horford. And the reason I believe this is they have to get a center. And all the centers, or not all the centers, but most are gone. Brooke Lopez going to the Clippers, Clint Capella going to the Rockets, even Plumlee. I think he went to the Hornets. I'm trying to think of free agent centers that I talked about, but most of them are gone. And there's DeAndre Ayton, which I do not believe they're going to get. I don't believe they have any interest in getting DeAndre Ayton. And if what I said on Monday about DeAndre Ayton didn't sway you, if you have access to The Athletic, go read that article and see what kind of turd this guy is. I mean, I had forgot about the dominating utterance from him. I'm dominating. You didn't dominate shit. What are you talking about, dominating? Like, and then it just a bad guy, just a bad dude up in Portland. So, yeah, I can't imagine the Warriors that have any interest at all whatsoever in him. Al Horford to me is the perfect guy. He's old. He fits right in to that starting lineup. He can shoot 36, 37% from three last year, well over 40% the two previous years. He knows how to play. He knows what he's doing. He's still a good defender. And he's kind of like Looney in a way. You know, Steve always said Looney was the moral compass of the team, just super professional. You could count on him every single game to show up and compete and do what was asked of him. That's Al Horford, except he's just a better player than Kevon Looney is. Like at his prime, a much better player, like an all-star type player. Again, he's 39, so but like you're not trying to keep these guys for 3-4 years. You're only trying to keep them for a couple years. So you're going to have an elderly lineup. The Warriors are going to need, if they get Al Horford, they won't have the death lineup. They're going to have the near death lineup. They're going to need to keep extra milk in the fridge to ward off osteoporosis. It's going to be the AARP lineup. I'm here for it. I'd like to watch the old guys go out there and kick some ass. It'll be incredible. It'll be like one of those movies starring Morgan Freeman and Michael Douglas and Robert De Niro. Like the Warriors all go to Vegas and hijinks happens and hilarity ensues and then they run into some issues and there's like, oh no, what's gonna, oh, his wife died, oh that sucks, so we need to get him back on the horse, oh he needs to live his life, and we'll see if it comes to fruition, but I think that's what's gonna happen. I think it makes too much sense. He fits in too well, and it just, again, you get all the old dudes, put them on a team, let it run. You're gonna have some dudes that know how to play hoops on that team. You're gonna have some guys with experience on that team. So I do believe they are gonna sign DeAndre Ayton, not DeAndre Ayton, but they're gonna sign Al Horford at some point. So what's that? Yeah, exactly. We're gonna have they're gonna have, you know what they're gonna have? We're gonna have like a Luby special If they sign Al Horford, they should open up a cafeteria, like one of those old school cafeterias, like for the blue hairs. You know what they could do during Warrior games too? Maybe they could have bingo. They could have like bingo at halftime. That would be awesome as well. And think of all these activities. Ride a scooter to the game, get in for half price. Love it. So now it's not a done deal, but I have a feeling that Al Horford is going to be a Warrior next year. And again, just because everyone else has gone somewhere else, and the Warriors better get somebody. They lost Looney. All the pieces kind of add up. Like this, you're thinking, okay, didn't get him. You better have somebody. And you lost Looney. I mean, you can't go into a season with Quentin Post and Draymond as your centers. So we'll see if he is. If he isn't, then I swung and I missed. But I believe he will. Damian Lillard got waived. That was just a shock to read. Not really a shock, but a shock to read. Like Damian Lillard got waived? What? But it made sense. So what happens is, in case you don't know, like the NBA is wild. You got to take a class and then a class for that class and then an addendum to that class to figure out what these contracts mean and what you can or can't do. Like in this situation, he had 2 years left in his contract. They waive him, and because they waive him, they can stretch it out over 5 years. So instead of paying like 120 million over 2, they paid 20 million over 5, something like that, whatever it is, 22 million. I'm not sure what the numbers exactly, but great thing for Damian Lillard. He gets all his money and he's a free agent. And then look, all the teams that you think would be interested in Damian Lillard are Warriors, check. Lakers, check. Celtics, check. Now, will they sign him this year to come work out in their facility and rehab in their facility? Does he want to sign this year? Maybe he just wants to be a free agent next year. Like, hey, let me just take this year off. I'm getting paid. I'll go rehab, and then I'll figure out where I want to be next year. Would it be super cool if he were a member of the Warriors? Yeah, it would be. Where you play him? I don't know. I mean, I guess you could figure that out at some point. Does he want to come back? Does he want to come back home and play with Steph Curry? I don't know. I mean, but I don't know if he's going to make up his mind like soon. I don't know. Then Portland, I wouldn't rule out Portland. Apparently, he loves Portland. I think I don't know if the family's still there in Portland, but I know that was part of the problem is he was away from the family. But yeah, which I always found weird. Like he wanted to get back to the family and he missed his family, and everybody keeps saying, "Look out for Miami." I'm like, well, damn, Miami's further away than Milwaukee. In fact, Miami's about as far away as you can get from Portland. It might be, in terms of large cities, it might be the furthest. I'm sure it is. So I don't know. I don't know. But hopefully, all I care about is he's healthy, rehab goes well, and he can come back and be Damian Lillard again. Because the game's more fun when guys like him is in the game. So why did they do that? So they could sign Miles Turner. That was a pretty slick move by the Bucks, I got to say. Not only do you strengthen your team, you got a Brook Lopez type who's younger, shoots it as well, defends at the rim as well, and way younger than Brook Lopez. So they got Miles Turner, and you weaken your rival, the team that knocked you out of the playoffs the last 2 years. Brilliant. How much better does that make them? Debatable. Now remember, they are in the East, and the East is going to be down next year. Indiana, going to be down next year. Boston, going to be down next year. Who's going to be up next year? Orlando will be up next year. I would imagine the Knicks will still be solid. Cleveland's still going to be really, really good. Everybody keeps talking about the offseason that Atlanta's having. And I'm with you. Atlanta's having a really good offseason. There's only one problem. They still have Trae Young. I I will never, unless it happens, I won't pick a team that is led by Trae Young to win a championship or win anything for that matter. Just not going to do it. Defensively, he's awful and he doesn't compete all the time. And I got to have someone that's competitive out there, and he's not that guy. Very gifted offensively, great passer, and can do a lot of things for you offensively. Can lead an offense at an all-star level, but you got to compete more. You got to compete more consistently, and you got to be at least a willing defender, and he's not. So I would never pick Atlanta to win anything as long as Trae Young is the lead on that team. So where does that leave the? I'm trying to say. I just thought I'm looking at news right now to see who signed. I wanted to get all the. That was pretty cool. Jaren Jackson Jr. signed Surf Toe. Boom. Thanks for signing. Be back in 3 months. I tell you who's had a really good offseason so far. The Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. going to Brooklyn for Cam Johnson. I think that not only is it a really good trade. I'm trying to look right here to see what the salaries were. Because that was the deal. Like, I think Porter's better, but I do like Johnson. They both are shooters. But you end up saving money. So you can go get Bruce Brown. You can go get Tim Hardaway Jr. You can trade for Valanciunas. Like, their bench is much deeper now. And their bench last year was an issue, and their bench isn't much of an issue anymore. So again, anytime you can surround Jokic with shooting, gold. It's gold. Because you are going to get great looks. You're gonna get great looks playing with that guy. He's the best player on the planet, maybe the best passer, regardless of position. So I like what they're doing. Max put on the screen the Knicks are expected to hire Mike Brown. I like Mike a lot. I do. Um, I think he's a really good coach. And he's getting paid by half the league. Good for Mike. Mike's getting paid by. I love it. I love that Mike's like, yeah, I'll just go here. 4 years, whacked after 2. Give me some more money. But Mike's a good coach, and I think he'll connect with the players there. There had to be something going on with Tibbs. Did you really? I mean, we all know they screwed that thing up. I mean, when you call damn near a third of the league trying to ascertain whether their coach could come in for an interview, whether their team will give them permission, their current team will give them permission to come speak to the Knicks, and they say no, 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 no. You've done it wrong at that point. You fired somebody without a plan, and you end up with Mike Brown, who, again, I like Mike. Mike's a really good coach. Mike wasn't their third choice. Mike was probably about their 8th choice. And so I hope he does well. Good luck to him. Like I said, I know him. He's a really, really good dude. Really good dude and solid coach. So hopefully things will work out in New York. All right, before we get to Frank Caliendo, who we talked to not that long ago, if you want to pop up a comment, free agent question about something, I'd be happy to take those. Frank's gonna do. We talked to Frank for close to 40 minutes, so it's fun talking to him. So you're gonna hear that in just a couple seconds. Steve says he thinks he was his wife's 8th choice. Yeah, but look, how long you been married? Hopefully you still are. Hopefully you don't fire back and go, not. Well, then maybe 8th choice. Not saying, look, 8th choices can be great choices. It's just you weren't the first choice. So, but that doesn't mean you weren't the best choice. You could have been the best choice. Maybe your wife thought, you know what, this guy is like, and then oh yeah, okay, okay, it's a hidden gem. This guy, Steve. uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, you're going to be able to sign Damian Lillard to a minimum contract because he's already getting paid. Now, he might want more than that, but he's not going to get any more because what he did, there's another thing, NBA contracts, offset language. So if, let's say the Warriors, for instance, want to get Dame Lillard, they say, we'll give you 10 million. Well, he gets that 10 million from the Warriors, but then they subtract that from the 10 million that Milwaukee owes him. So he gets the exact same. So there's no need, no reason for him to ask for any money more than the vet minimum. So there's going to be a team out there that gets a really, really good player that's on the vet minimum. It's going to be incredible to see where he ends up going. Let's see what we got here. Been together 20 years, married 10. Congratulations. See, doesn't matter what choice you were. It worked out. Doesn't matter if you're the 8th, 7th, 4th, 1st. Sometimes first round choices go wrong. How many busts have we seen? There are probably women out there right now going, yeah, I wish I would have went with my third choice. I went the first choice, busted out on me after 3 years. Had to get rid of him. Dubs need a backup point guard. When haven't they needed a backup point guard? It seems like they've needed a backup point guard forever. Now, that's a spot Pajemski can fill. Pajemski can be a point guard. I like him more in the off guard. Sometimes he handles the ball too much and gets into the lane and kind of gets himself into the, just pass, cut, and do what you're going to do. But that's Steve's kind of whole mantra. Do what you're going to do it aggressively, do it quick. I want you to dribble. That ain't going to happen. That's why, the Kuminga thing doesn't always work. It's a dribble, face a dribble. It's like, no, that's not his vision of how the game should be played. So, and speaking of Kuminga, seems like the market's quite light on Kuminga so far. I haven't read of any offers. None. So there could be some. I just haven't read. Usually you get intel on all the offers that free agents get. And so far it seems to have been fairly light for Jonathan Kuminga. So obviously we'll keep track of that. We'll keep track of all the free agent news as it goes. But yeah, I mean, the Warriors getting a point guard, backup point guard would be fine. Center's more pressing. But when you're paying guys like they're paying guys, you don't have a whole lot of flexibility. I mean, you have two guys that you're paying $120 million to. My lovely wife, Lori, rolling out to the backyard, and Camila. Playing school. We're on recess. Oh, you're on recess? Yeah. You want to say hi to everybody, Camila? Camila just woke up. No, she did not. Oh, Camila didn't just wake up. And so Camila's sitting over here in the sun. What do you think about what the well, you got to come over here and sit because nobody can see you right there. Or do you just want to sit there? Okay, she goes, fine, I can come over here. I'm going to ask Camila what she thinks of the Warriors free agency. Come here. If you want a really professional, solid opinion, you got it. What do you think of what the Warriors have done in free agency this year? Do you like what they've done?
Yeah.
You do? You think they're going to have a chance next year?
Yeah.
You think the Warriors might win it next year?
Yeah.
Do you ever say no?
No. Yeah.
This is my 5-year-old. She is graduated preschool and now she's on to kindergarten next year. And now my mom's out here. Maybe we should just have my mom come on too. She could talk about the Warriors. She's a big Warrior fan. Actually, my mom is a big Golden Knights fan. So Yeah, she's just into the yeah, yeah. We're good. Nah, she's a cutie. So yeah, she just got done. She's on summer break right now, and then in about 6 weeks, goes off to kindergarten, get big girl school. You know what is crazy? Is summer's like 6 weeks now. Anybody that's my age, maybe a little bit younger, whatever happened to the 3 month summers? I used to love 3 month summers. You were off from early June to like just after Labor Day. The best. Now, nah. You're lucky if you get to the second week of August before you head back to school. And so, anywho, all right, I'm gonna get on out of here. Everybody enjoy Frank Caliendo. He joined me for about 40 minutes, and everybody have a happy 4th too, and be safe. Enjoy the fireworks, enjoy the burgers. That's all I'm gonna do is watch baseball and see if the Giants can score more than 2 runs. And I think baseball starts at 8:30. I think Washington, the Nationals, always play the early game on 4th of July. Come out here, hang out. I'll give you one reminder. If you have pets, get them in early. Get them in early on July 4th. Like animals hate fireworks, especially dogs. But I always try to keep my cats and dogs in by 5 o'clock. Get them in, shut the door. I'll put them in upstairs, and I'll turn the fan on high, and then I'll put them in the closet and let them just relax up there and rest, because there's nothing worse than fireworks for animals. So if you have animals, make sure you get them in early, take care of them, because a lot of times animals get lost 4th of July because they're scared and they just don't know what's going on and they're running all over the place. So take care of yourselves, take care of your furry friends, and have a happy 4th. And we will see you next week. Enjoy Frank Caliendo next. Is shaking, everybody. Welcome to the Tom Tolbert Show. It's always a distinct pleasure to have one of my favorites join the show. In previous iterations, of course. This is a new show, and this is the first time he's joined this show. Frank Caliendo, one of the funniest guys I know, the first and foremost impressionist alive today. I guess I'd have to go back to Little to be maybe the first impressionist. Would that be correct?
I don't know about that. I think there are a lot of really good people doing impressions right now, and I think the internet is the reason you get to see lots of people. There are people on Saturday Night Live, and I'm just thinking of people off the top of my head, like Jay Farrow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there are quite a few people that you see. Used to be Saturday Night Live would have the premier impressionist of the time. Like
Yeah.
if you go back to the cartoon version of impressions, Dana Carvey would be
Yep.
that. Then Daryl Hammond. Before those guys, probably Phil Hartman. Even though he was more, he was like Will Ferrell, where he would make you believe he was anybody, even if he didn't sound exactly like him.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's lots of people on the internet now, and I think it's a great time to learn how to do impressions because the subject matter is always there in front of you. When I was coming up, when I worked at Mad TV, when I was on a sketch show in the early 2000s, if you wanted to watch some type of material about, an impression, a character or something like that, you had to order it from somebody. There was a guy named Dylan at the Mad TV office. He didn't even have a last name. He was like Madonna and or Jordan. Maybe he was Dylan.
What did he
Jordan.
play? They play soccer for Brazil?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
he just you'd ask for stuff, and then he'd order it. And a couple days later, you get a VHS tape with something either he recorded on a DVR or they would
Wow.
call, get some central type of thing. But now you can just watch any person over and over and over on YouTube or any other type of social media. So it makes it a lot better for you if you're studying a person, if you can get all these different situations a person is in, whether it's an interview, a character in a movie, or whatever, and just watch all those different iterations of the same person and add that into what you're doing with your impression.
Well, I always thought what made you different wasn't just the impression, it was the voice put in maybe a different setting than you would generally see that person, while using some of the same vernacular that you would hear them use, like the
Yeah.
same kind of words and the same tempo and the voice, but it'd be something that maybe you would never hear, Bill Walton talk about or Barkley talk about.
Is there
I
anything Bill
always,
Walton might not talk about, though? Is there something?
well,
that,
that is a great point.
I mean, how long did you work with him?
I worked with Bill we did games together for a year, but we were together at ESPN for quite a while. And I mean, look, I've known Bill since I've been younger, growing up on the West Coast and following the Clippers. He was actually the color commentator for the Clippers when I played for the Clippers, and he's uttered some of the greatest lines in the history of sports broadcasting. And they're local, so people wouldn't know, wouldn't hear him. But the line, where would the Clippers be without Keith Kloss? I'm like, what?
I remember you telling me that story about doing a game with him, and it was there were like 3 Hall of Famers on the court, and he's like, "There's nobody better than Howard Isley right now on this court. He's the greatest player in the history of Western civilization." Just the way he would say, like, it's obvious that was not the case, but Bill, I think he talked himself into it in his head, or he went off on a trip somewhere where it was actually true, and then he came back. I've just been in another civilization, a different time, a different place, understanding that the multiverse of madness is real, and that's what this is all about. Call me Dr. Strange, because I am the one with the amulet. So I'm pretty good friends with Dave Pash, who worked with him for years.
Yeah.
And we crossed paths in Italy, and we were in Umbria, Italy, and there's this little town called Gubbio, and I'm just walking around talking to Dave as Bill Walton. How great is this? The 13th century, it's still around. Look at the architecture. This is better than the saguaro cacti there in Tucson, Arizona. And I never thought anything could be as beautiful. So it is fun missing it. We definitely miss Bill Walton. He would bring people to shows and come and see me. And
did he really?
Yeah. It was fun to do games with him, but just to talk to him behind the scenes. And he would when I met him, it was a charity event in San Diego, and they didn't want me to do an impression of him. They're like, "Well, Bill's here and his back is sore." I'm like, "Let me just give it a shot." I they didn't really know, they didn't know him. They just thought he might not like it. I'm like, "Let me try. And if he doesn't like it, I'll take the hit." And they're like, "Okay." I go up there, and I'm doing, I'm probably talking about Detlef Schrempf, which is what you got me hooked on.
Oh,
and Detlef Schrempf.
Get a rebound, Schrempf.
6'10", and look at that haircut. Unbelievable. Is he the Terminator? No, he's the Worminator, wiggling his way to more 3-pointers. So I go up and I do something about the greatest in the history of Western civilization, or whatever I do. Remember being at Berkeley, blotching a beard, connecting on my face. So something like that, some bit.
Yeah.
And the room gets kind of quiet. And then you look to the back, Bill stands up, hilarious, unbelievable. So it was, he got, and we hit it off really well afterward. And he brought some people out to shows, like I said. So he's one of those guys that got it.
I was going to say, not only do we miss Bill, because, I was in contact with Bill occasionally. He came on the show. He had one, every time he came on, it was epic. But the one time he came on, 40 straight minutes, and I asked 3 questions.
Yeah. Well,
I
did a podcast with
Bill. Bill, you doing good? That was it. And Bill just went and did fire on the mountain. Fire.
I did a podcast with. I didn't get the 3 questions. Great job, Tom, to get the 3 questions. I did a podcast.
You were saying you did a podcast with him?
I did a podcast with him with my friend John Holmberg. And we did a podcast. We got maybe 1 question in. A plane went overhead behind him, wherever he was. And he thought it was a pterodactyl. And then there were all kinds of Grateful Dead references. And that went way over my head. And 45 minutes later, the Earth was still on its axis doing whatever it needed to do.
I was going to say, we don't just miss him. Everybody should miss a guy like that, because he loved life. He loved people. He loved basketball. He just loved being a part of everything. And
Well,
I just miss
when he
seeing him.
passed away, Tom, when he passed away, nobody talked about basketball. They all
I
talked about
know.
him as a
I
human
know.
being. That was unbelievable. Like
Hmm.
there was a little bit of basketball highlights, but all people had to do was talk about how great he was and how much he did little things that nobody knew that he did.
Yep.
And biking all over the country was another
Loved
thing.
biking. Loved biking. So what resonates for you when you're thinking about a voice to do? Is it the people that have a distinct? Obviously, you got to be well known, but what is it about
Well, let me
more
cut you
than
off there.
free?
You don't have to be as well known as you used to be.
Okay,
It used to be that everybody had to know who you are to be able to
okay,
do an impression of the person because there was no way to share it with people who were super fans of that particular person. Now there's
okay.
all types of chat rooms or boards or whatever, uh, different types of social media platforms that people can just send stuff to other people and they'll send stuff to more. So you can hit somebody who's just really well known to a certain group and that can go off the
Huh,
rail. That can go crazy. That could be millions of views on something that's broad that everybody knows, nobody cares about. But
huh.
something that is very specific. For one, I don't really do much with it because I can't really say other words. But I did a thing with Better Call Saul where I would do Saul Goodman. Did you know that you have rights? The Constitution says you do. Hi, I'm Saul Goodman. And people who know that show really would like that or
Yeah,
they'd comment on it or whatever. But that show, as great as it is, one of my favorite shows of all time, if
great
not
show.
my favorite show. Yeah, that and Breaking Bad are two of my favorite shows of all time. That was a pretty niche audience overall compared to, I don't know, American Idol in its heyday or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even know if there's anything besides sports that's that way. So what do I look for? I look for, to get back on track. I Waltoned you there. Um, so what I look for is a cadence first. Is there a speech pattern for a person, or did they make a sound or noise in between words? Like when you're saying with Walton,
Yeah.
there
Oh.
is, what in the world? There's You can get into a sentence just by making the sound too, or the sound can be take the place of a pause and fill that moment. And it's a familiarity of what the person does. So those are the things that you really look for because you don't have to get the pitch exactly right. How many Christopher Walkens have
Yeah.
you heard? High, low, in the middle. Doesn't matter because you know that cadence, right? It's
Yeah.
ignoring punctuation. You don't need it. Why? Why would you need a period there? I don't speak that way. I don't. Not at all. There. I didn't even use a comma when I should have. Why would I? And there's cadences like Samuel L. Jackson, which I can't get 100%, but I know the cadence of Samuel L. Jackson. Da 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 da. So you know what that
Yeah.
is. You can
Uh-huh.
add the words, and a couple of them you can't say everywhere. So
Yeah.
that, but that's I will strike down upon thee, da 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 da, and it's just that cadence gets you going. And Jeff Goldblum's another one that's like that.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Why? Ooh, my favorite letter. Why? Ooh, which is a question and a letter. It's a vowel, but is it? No, not always. A-E-I-O-U. And sometimes why? Ooh, that's two O's. That's a pair of vowels. Is that a diphthong? No, it's not. It's not. It's not a love grammar. I do. So, and my new thing with Goldblum is he just thinks out loud. He's like a tour guide and a tourist at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like, ooh, what's that? What's that? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's the Statue of Liberty. Very good. Ooh, yeah. So
Now, do you feel like you have to do a president? Is that just like a given, or
I do,
is
and
it some?
I'll tell you why. Because the presidents are known by everybody. That's the one that is known That is the entity that's known across the board.
Yeah.
And usually there is some type of emotion tied one way or the other to that, to give a president, somewhere close to 50-50 both ways, right? So it's, I mean, the whole point of social media too is, or not the whole point, but what happens in social media, the way to go viral is get people arguing in the comments. If you,
Yeah.
and anytime you do something political, and my politics, quote unquote, are the most non-political politics. It's just, I do the stuff about the character and the cadence and how they talk,
Yep.
as opposed to uh, trying to talk about some type of policy, because that's just not. I do a lot of corporate shows and stuff like that, and I would be doing a
Uh-huh.
lot less corporate shows if I did into that. And that's selling out. Absolutely, I'll sell
Yeah.
out for as long as I can. But I do like whispery Trump. I do the quiet Donald Trump, the one where you articulate all of the, and you got to get the hands going. You got to get the tremendous hands. And look at the size of those hands. They're very big. They're very big. But it's library Trump. They're very, very cool. So those are the, there's a different iteration of Trump right now where people do that that big type of thing, and almost everybody does that. Say, when I try to do something different than what everybody else is doing, so, and just because I like my impressions to be they have to have a character to them, so they're not just mimicry. What is the point of view of the character?
Yeah. Have you ever done like the presidents? Because I know you've done most of them probably in the last 20, 30 years. Presidents arguing over sports topics, like different presidents, taking a side on NBA free agency, or maybe even Aaron Rodgers.
I always have these grand ideas. It's weird when you mix the sports and politics stuff, even though they're just political characters. People start to get.
Do they really?
Yeah. I mean, it's. Every once in a while I have this grand idea that I'm going to do that type of thing with some mundane or something that's in the news. I know if not one could get picked up. If I do 10 of them, maybe let's say 20 of them, one of them's going to hit and do pretty well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but then I start going, do I really want the backlash on some of this? And I do a lot of that type of stuff, but I know I could get a lot, and everybody does a Trump now though too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's at a time I did Trump with Trump at Trump Tower in like 2007.
Did you really?
For a Fox Sports bit. Yeah. It was like at one of the lines, I don't know if it made it in or not, because they never watched what I did, but I remember we cut it, and the joke at the beginning was, I've decided to run for president. Now I've decided to not run for president. Now I've decided to not run for president. Now I've decided to not run for president. And I'm not even sure if I'm running anymore. So it was that kind of thing. And we're halfway through the sketch, or we go through one, shoot it a little bit. Something goes wrong with the camera move, and they go reset. And Trump looks around the room. Is this good? Is this good? Is this funny? Is this good? And everybody's like, yes, Mr. Trump, fantastic. Mr. Trump's great. Mr. Trump is like, wait. Does anybody ever tell you something isn't good? He's no, Frank, and that's part of the problem. I can't get real answers. I'm like, wow, you really should run for president. He's like, great idea, great idea.
So coaches, my two favorite coaches that you do are, of course, Madden. I mean, Madden's just the best, but Gruden too. Because if you throw in a couple of knock on woods and are you with me, and you get the eyebrow, hey man, I love football.
What, man, that's a really good idea right there, Tommy Tolbert. I remember when you were just Mr. T, not the original Mr. T. You were Mr. T there. Are you still Mr. T? You still doing that? You got the gold chains and stuff like that. Hey, if the A team wants to take you on a helicopter ride, you're afraid of going on a helicopter? They're going to give you a hamburger that's juiced up, man. They're going to do that? They're going to knock you out for a little while? I'll tell you what, man, I love Tommy Tolbert. Knocked out. I don't know if they do that anymore on television. I love Hannibal. Hannibal always loved it when the plan came together, man. Great coach, Hannibal Smith. I love that guy, George Papard.
It's almost like Gruden, through his Barstool stuff and being on social media, has become a character of who he actually is. Like, just, look at this great box I got here, man. The California Golden Bears, man. These guys are Ron Rivera, man. Aaron Rodgers. I
I
just
mean,
watch
Aaron
him like,
Rodgers had a 4.5 grade point average in his second year there, man. A lot of people were overlooking Aaron Rodgers, but it turns out he's going to become the greatest thrower of the football in the entire history of Western civilization. Not to say something that much different than the great Bill Walton would have, who's also California, but nothing to do. UCLA, I love UCLA, the Bruins, man. Yeah, and then he'll get a box like that Barstool stuff is so great because I texted him when he first went there. I go, "This is awesome, man." I'm like, "This is great." He's like, "I have no idea what I'm doing." I go, "Just keep doing all the stuff you're doing because everything you do is complete gold because you don't give a rip. It's just
yeah,
you just go
exactly.
out there. Like he will wear an ad for something. Like he'll wear a Pizza Hut thing. He'll have a Pizza Hut patch on his shirt while wearing a Papa John's hat. He'll have two different. He'll have two
Two
different
competing
advertisers
pizza
at
companies.
the same time and not say anything about it, man, because I just love pizza. I love pizza, man. Anything you could eat in a triangle, I'm gonna eat that, man. You know, I love burgers, but I don't love them like I love pizza. You know why? Because you start at the smallest tip and you work your way to the outside. You ever hear of the Pythagorean theorem, man? You ever hear of that? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. I'll tell you what, man, C squared, it's a little longer than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah,
He,
but I
if I
love
were him, I'd
Pythagoras,
never go
man. That
back
guy
into
had
coaching.
he had a great ideas, man. Pythagoras, when he started out, man, people were like, "You're not going to go anywhere." Kind of like Darren Wall. They were worried. They're not sure what's going to happen with him. Then he gets picked. We work with him. I tell you what, man, Pythagoras, he took over, man.
Pythagoras. Oh my God. Oh, I love it. It's funny you say that. It's hilarious you brought that up because I always bring that up just for no good reason. I'm like, do you ever check out this Pythagoras guy? Like, this is like really big stuff. A squared plus. I don't know what it means, and I don't know what but I just know it's a big deal, right? It's a big deal. That one, and I always throw in an Occam's razor in there
Occam's
just to
razor,
throw.
man.
I don't even know who Occam is, but I know he had a razor, and I know it was like the simplest idea or the simplest explanation usually is the right one. I just throw
And
those in there
speaking of
occasionally.
razors, you ever try the Mach 4? I'll tell you what, man. They just sent me a box full of razor blades. This is worth over $250 billion right here.
Oh man. So like him, he's great, but I mean, did it all get started with Madden? Is that kind
Yeah.
of where
The Madden stuff, because nobody was really doing that, especially nationally. You know, I think some people did a Madden impression. There had to be people doing them somewhere. But when I got it on TV, I remember a news program. We did something on Mad TV. It was Madden explaining the war in the Middle East or something like that. And it got picked up by some news stations, and that's what started pretty big. And then doing it on the NFL on Fox with Kimmel. When Kimmel was there, he had me in. And we did Madden for President, and he took a
Mhm.
pair of hedge clippers to the Madden eyebrows I was wearing. If social media had been around back then, that would have been massively large. That would have been one of those types of things like, oh my God, they took a pair of hedge clippers to John Madden's eyebrows. Hilarious, right? So, but those were the things. Kim will get me on that with the NFL on Fox, which is in front of the correct audience, the football
Yep.
audience, and the Mad TV stuff. So yeah, Madden was definitely because nobody was doing anything like that. And then I just took, I would cite a guy named John Campanera, who's a great comedian in his own right, Chicago comic, legendary Chicago comic, who was actually one of the first people to do a Harry Carey. He even sounded like Harry Carey when he would regularly talk. A little bit, but he had this. If you ever hear somebody like that, the bit Campanera used to do, hey, look at the kid in the sombrero, right? That that was him, and so he told me explain the jokes. Explain. You got John Madden. Explain all the jokes. So I did a little bit of that at the beginning, and then he opened my eyes to I should explain all the jokes. So that's what my act became, a joke that wasn't designed for everybody to laugh, so I could explain stuff with John Madden. You done it once, do it 100 times. It'll go crazy. So I started doing that all the time. And then when Madden was gone, I changed that too because I always liked that concept of looking in on my own act as somebody else and commenting, and I turned it into Morgan Freeman narrating stuff in my act, and that's when the audience realized Frank Caliendo had no idea what he was talking about. That type of thing would go in to where Mad would have explained, just get out over this over here and that over there, and then boom. I mean, that's where it's supposed to be funny. So those types of things, I always like that. When, you know, some people are like, when you have to explain a joke as a comedian, it's not a very good joke. I'm like, well, unless that's the joke, unless the joke is, I don't want you to get the joke on purpose, so I can explain it. That's pretty much my whole. That's pretty much my whole act, unfortunately.
Well, no, that can be used as a vehicle for laughter. That's one of my look, comedians, some are really funny, some aren't, whatever. There's so many of them out there. But the worst, and I'm really funny comedians do this. This is a really funny joke. And then I'll explain it to you how it's going to work. And I'm like, well, if your joke's that fucking funny, then you shouldn't have to explain to me how genius you are. It's like they get 10, 15 seconds to explain how their genius works, and then I'm supposed to look at it and go, oh, okay. That's and it wasn't part of the bit. That's when you lose me. I don't need you to tell me how smart you are. I'm here to see you. And if something doesn't work, and then you got to explain it to show how smart you are, then I don't know. I just get taken out at that point.
Well, see, here's the thing. Nothing I do is smart. So I don't ever have to worry.
I'm not talking about you.
But I'm just saying, I don't ever run into that problem, because what I'm doing is so simplistic that even I sometimes go, what is happening here? How am I pulling this off?
Oh, because you're really good at what you do. And again, it's not just the impressions. It's the comedy that goes with the impressions. A lot of people can do impressions, but you got to be a comedian. You got to have some timing, and you got to have some good thoughts in your head to pull it off. Where'd the Morgan Freeman come from? Because that one's so, like, he's the one guy. If anybody wanted to have a voice, like a navigational voice in their car, although I chose Walton. We did it one day. I'm like, I got to have Walton do my voice in my car. Oh, I'm sorry. I was listening to the Dead. I left 2 miles back. Oh, take a Yui. Like, but Morgan Freeman's the guy. How did he just all of a sudden become the guy? He's been around forever. Over the last 10 years, he's the guy now.
Yeah, I had it a little bit. It was one of the, like, I had a set of impressions I'd done, and then a couple new things I was looking for. Actually, I think one of the main things that happened was Mike at the time, they were looking for somebody to read that, or something to read that LeBron letter, to do something with that LeBron letter.
Oh, okay.
And I think I had it a little bit before then, but then I read that thing as Morgan Freeman, and it went crazy viral at the time for what it was. I mean, Fallon even played it for Morgan Freeman that day on the show. I think I've been doing it some before that, but that was one of those things I took out. But the reason I started doing it more is because I just like I said before, I took that Madden thing where I would explain the jokes or explain what was going on, and now narrate the jokes as as Morgan Freeman, just to have that. I always like that, just that, breaking the fourth wall. I've loved that. Back when I was a kid watching It's Gary Shandling show.
I love Gary Shandling's show.
Yeah, when he would just talk to the audience and just let you know, not just talk to the audience, go, shh, come here. And then he would let you in on something. I just found that stuff because it was just so different at the time. And now they've evolved that to a smarter, I guess I shouldn't say smarter, a very, a different way of doing it, to whether it's The Office or Modern Family, of making it a documentary about something, and then you get to have confessionals talking to the camera, which serves the same purpose, but makes it organic to the show, as opposed to breaking through. So you get to break the fourth wall without winking and nodding. You are pretty much doing it, and it's reality television based and reality based. So it makes it believable in those terms. But I always like that. I like anything where there's behind the scenes help of what's going on, and then they can say one thing and then the opposite thing happens on the screen right after they say it. So I always found that very funny.
No, absolutely. No, there's no doubt about it. So what's kind of consuming most of your show right now? What do you spend most of your time on? And Do you always have? Is it always kind of fresh? Can you always just pull from current events and use that in the act, or is it something that's a little more difficult than that?
It's more and more now, more and more of that because I'm really trying to expand what I've been doing. I got in a rut about probably 5 to 10 years ago. I was just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over, and I wasn't enjoying myself as much. So now I really make it a point to try and create on stage constantly, and that's the shows I've been doing around the country in the last few months have been a lot of that. I bring guys who write with me. We go over the show a little bit
Hmm.
after and talk in between, and then try and create some stuff that I want to try and hit during the show, and then after the show, tweak and go what worked, what didn't, and then try and go for. That's why I like the clubs. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's great for the theater. I don't have as much fun in a theater.
Oh, the saguaro cactus. Now I lost you. You're traveling around doing the show. Said you got kind of bored with what you're doing. You're traveling with your writers, and you go over what worked, what didn't work.
Yeah, I just like I like the club atmosphere. Like what you're doing at a club is it's more intimate, and I get to create a lot more on stage and get the immediate feedback. And plus, when you're doing a theater, it feels like people are at the theater. And when you're at a club, it's like, hey, I'm at a club. You know what? It's just a very different feeling. So I like the club thing because I'm especially trying to create some stuff right now, and it gets my juices flowing that way.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I'm doing. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do next with my stand up. It's evolving somewhat. So that's what I'm trying. That's where I'm trying to go
Yeah.
with.
How has because like Walton, Walton was incredible. So is Matt. I mean, they're all great. I don't see you do a lot of Barkley. Does that resonate with people?
Barkley's huge.
Is
Yeah.
is
Barkley's
Barkley
a
huge?
really,
Okay.
yeah, don't be ridiculous, Tommy. You don't know what you're talking about, knucklehead.
Yeah, there's a lot. The best was I did it with him at an event for the Phoenix Suns charities years ago and brought him up on. Well, I didn't bring him up on stage. We set it up for him to come up on stage, and he was supposed to come up like 30 minutes later, and he came up in the first 2 minutes. I'm like, "What are you doing up here?" So he's like,
I couldn't take it anymore. Everybody said I had to get up here and defend myself.
now then we go back and forth doing
That's terrible, horrible, really, really bad.
so he's one of the best with it, and people totally get into that. I mean, it's one of my favorites too because it's just I just get to say things are
Terrible. That's really, really bad. Come on, Tommy.
I mean, one thing I look forward to every year, and I think you've done it. Either you've released it around Christmas, or you do a new one. We do all the actors that do "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." Is that where did that idea come from? Because I think it's really fun, and for me, without just listening to it, I can tell who the actors are, and it's hilarious to listen to. But where'd that idea come from?
I used to do that as a kid. Not some with impressions, some with like just characters and whatever make do silly voices. But I remember being in high school reading the Dr. Seuss as high school for we do. We'd have the VHS camcorder out, and people would just yell out different voices, and I would just continue reading as the different voices. Some of them were impressions, but some of them, like I said, were just other silly voices. And I thought one day I was just like, you know what, I'll try this. I'll try this on for social media, and it worked. And people are like, you should do that all the time. I'm like, I guess, but it starts to feel like the same thing all the time to me. But I guess at the same, that's kind of what social media is, doing the same thing over and over.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. How have you adjusted to that world? Because for me, I'm not, I'm older. I don't get a lot of it. I mean, I get it, but I'm just not interested in it. But you have to be interested in it if you want to put your stuff out there and everything that goes along with it. But it is. It's just I didn't grow up with this. You didn't grow up with this, so it's probably the same for you. But how are you dealing with all the social media stuff?
It's actually hard for me because I just I like to have more of a try to get quality, and I think it takes me a while to get the quality. And
Yeah.
you see what everybody else does. There's just no need for quality. It's just throw everything out there at will, and you'll grow that way. just hate people seeing me crappy all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
and especially with impressions, it just gets really annoying because they're magic tricks. They're not. A lot of them I don't sound exactly like the person. It's kind of getting you to believe I'm acting like the person. It's sounding somewhat like them to make you buy into this little bit of a false reality. And social media is more about sound exactly like the person, and doesn't matter if they're. I always thought the goal was to be funny, not to be a sound alike.
Yeah.
And that was a big difference. I do have a tough time getting. I think I'm the same as you, where it's like I get it, but if I were working for somebody and somebody were cutting up clips and putting it out there for me all the time, I think I'd have a much easier time than I have to go out there and just create stuff on my own. That's kind of what drives me nuts. Is okay, now I got to sit down and create this, even though it's not really what I want to do. I know this has a chance to work, as opposed to just go out and have fun. It's the business as opposed to the show of it in show business, which is anybody now. It's just that's the other thing about social media. Anybody can put something out there. I remember when I was a top thing at YouTube before it got big. One of the most viewed videos I had was the Clinton Bush comparison, and it was like, I think it was even #1 on YouTube before YouTube was what it is now.
Yeah.
And there weren't even subscribers or I don't know. There was a time I didn't even know it was up there. My brother had put it up for me. So if I'm always putting stuff up to, hey, look at me, I just feel weird about going, hey, look at me. I'm 51
Yeah.
years old. That's
Yeah.
kind of what my issue is. And when I was younger, I did all kinds of stuff, like trying to get somewhere. Now I feel like I've gotten to a place where I just don't want, it's the progression of the Rocky movies. It's Rocky 3. Yeah, I've lost the eye of the tiger.
Dun, dun. You want to do stuff. You want to do fun stuff. You want to do stuff that makes you feel like you've done something, and then you just want to move on. Like that's
Yeah,
kind
and
of my whole thing. I want to do it. I want to make people laugh. I want to entertain people, but then I don't want to dwell in it. I don't really want to be a part of the conversation and people talking about it. I just want to do my stuff and kind of move on.
yeah,
But that's not really the game you got to play.
yeah. Now it's like, what's behind the scenes? How did you make it? What were you
Yeah.
doing? What did you eat? I always wanted to be I always felt I was like wrong for the business. I mean, I could have done a lot and made a lot of different decisions in terms of, if I see people who make it like huge, 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 and I go, your whole life is that. And I guess you get to a point where you can relax and not care about it anymore. But those people are so driven, they want to keep doing it. They're they actually have a Gary V type of mentality.
Yeah.
But I don't have that. I just like to go out there and do my
Yeah.
thing. And when I had my show on TBS, they wanted me to audition for some other sitcoms and be on some other stuff like full time. And the network didn't really want me to do it, but I was getting these, like, they were actually looking for Frank Caliendo types at the time.
No.
And I was like, well, I'm doing this right now, and I have the Fox pregame show. Why would I want to do more? And I just didn't have that mentality of I want to do 8 things.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality you have to have, because you don't know when it's going to go away. So everybody just does pretty much everything they can, and you go, that's just not for me. I'd rather help raise my family and see my kids.
No, I'm totally with you on that. All right, before I let you go, and I want to find out when you're coming to the Bay Area and give everybody get you back on when you're going to be around the Bay Area. But I'm going to throw a curveball at you. I would like you, if possible, like Gruden and Madden for sure, if you want to throw
I'm ready.
Wall in there. But I want you to argue. I want each of them to argue the merits of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and what jelly goes best on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I'll tell you what, man, I love peanut butter and jelly. You ever had that? You ever get the peanut butter and jelly in the same bottle? That's pretty good, man. Unbelievable. Who thought of this? How can we get little bread pieces? Maybe throw some croutons in there. Understand the world that we live in.
I mean, but then you got people with a peanut allergy, so you need some sort of alternative. Maybe you got a soybean, soy, not beans, smashed beans. So, I mean,
I tell you what, they're legumes still, man. Peanuts are in the legume family. And if you've got a peanut allergy, you're not eating peanut butter and jelly anyways, are you, man? That's unbelievable. That even came up. The jelly that goes with everything, strawberry fields forever.
It's so funny you would say that, because I always say the people that eat grape jelly are dead to me. Strawberry jelly only. That's it. Come to find out, grape jelly is the #1 jelly for
I'll
peanut
tell you
butter
what,
jelly
man, I love
sandwiches.
grape jelly. You ever see the Grape Giraffe? That's pretty good. That's a good book, man.
Thank you, Steinbeck. Oh my goodness gracious! So when are you coming to the Bay Area?
I have no plans right now. I'm doing this podcast out of pure friendship, Tom.
Well, I appreciate that. Hey, whatever happened to our guy that
most
went
comedians,
to?
most comedians, including myself, usually only do stuff when we're going somewhere. But the only thing I got a couple things on the books coming up. I got Nashville, and that's the great thing about now. This, anybody can see this anywhere. Back in the day,
Yep.
I come on your radio show, and it was local only. Now, whatever, but.
Yep.
FrankOnStage.com has all the information. I got
Okay.
Nashville this summer. That's like July 23rd or something like that. And then I'm home in Phoenix area, Desert Ridge Improv. So Zany's in July in Nashville, Desert Ridge Improv in August in Phoenix area. And I know I have Chicago, Aurora, Illinois in October. Oh, Tampa. I'm going to go see John Gruden down. We're going to open up some boxes, man. Going to do some great stuff. Last time I was there, actually, was at the FFCA when we're walking around. I'll tell you what, he was trying to get me to do what are they called? Cameos. Like, you ever do cameo, man? Like I can't. I feel weird about it and stuff like that. It's like, you got to do cameos. I opened my inbox this morning. That's email, my inbox. I opened that up. I had 450 cameos I needed to do. Then he starts doing them. He's got film behind him, right? He's just watching. He's like, I tell you what, man, it might be your 50th birthday today, Ted, but I'm talking about 50. This is Walter Payton behind me, busting through the 50-yard line, man, just like you're busting through the half-century mark on your way to a cool 100. So I'll be in Tampa as well. So FrankOnStage.com has all the information for all the shows. You don't even have to learn how to spell Caliendo, which is just the letter C, the word alien, and the word do. But FrankOnStage.com for any of that information.
And next time you see Pash, tell him, get a rebound. Get a rebound, Pash.
Throw it down.
Hey, I really appreciate it. It's been too long since I got a chance to talk and catch up, and I appreciate the time. I know you're busy. If you're not, you can just say you're busy. That's cool too.
So super busy.
Frank, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's always fun chatting with you about comedy and all the good stuff that you do. So hopefully get a chance to do it in the future. Take care, and when you're ever in the Bay Area, let me know. Go and grab something to eat.
Definitely. Sounds good, man.
Thanks, Frank.